There's a lie you tell yourself every single morning. It happens the moment your alarm rings. You look at the time, your eyes heavy, the room dark, and you think, I'll just sleep for 30 more minutes. I'll work harder later to make up for it. But you never do. By hitting snooze, you aren't just getting more sleep. You are starting your day with a defeat. You are telling your brain that your temporary comfort is more important than your long-term goals. Most people live their entire lives in this cycle. They wake up late, rush to work, give their best energy to their boss, come home drained, and scroll through their phones until they pass out. They are passengers in their own lives. But there is a different way to live. It requires no money. It requires no special talent. It only requires a choice that you have to make before the sun comes up. Let me tell you about Michael. Michael was 29 years old. He wasn't in crisis. He wasn't starving. He was just stuck. He worked in project management. He was a nice guy, a hard worker. But Michael felt like he was constantly drowning. His alarm went off at 7:30 a.m. By 7:45, he was checking emails in bed. By 8:30, he was rushing out the door, stress already spiking his cortisol. By the time he sat at his desk, he was already reacting to other people's demands. His boss needed a report. His landlord needed a text. His friends needed a reply. Michael had a dream, too. He wanted to learn to code and build his own app. He had bought the courses. He had downloaded the software. But every evening, he'd get home at 6:30 p.m., look at his computer, and feel his brain shut down. I'm too tired, he'd say. I'll start on Saturday. But Saturday would come, and he'd sleep in until noon to recover from the week. Years went by. Michael watched his friends launch businesses. He watched younger colleagues get promoted over him. He felt a quiet, heavy shame growing in his chest. He wasn't lazy, he was busy, but he was making zero progress on the things that actually mattered to him. He was living on everyone else's schedule but his own. The breaking point wasn't a tragedy, it was a Tuesday. Michael had missed a deadline for his personal project for the 5th time. He was venting to an older friend, David, a man who ran 3 successful companies, yet never seemed stressed. I just don't have enough time, Michael complained. By the time I get home, the day is gone. David looked at him and said something that stopped Michael cold. You have the time, Michael. You're just spending it on the wrong end of the day. David explained a concept he called the Golden Gap. He said, the world attacks you at 9 a.m. Emails, calls, news, problems. If you wait until evening to build your dreams, you are building with the scraps of energy you have left. You are giving your best hours to your employer and your worst hours to yourself. Flip the script, David said. Pay yourself first. Michael was skeptical. He identified as a night owl. He loved his sleep. But the shame of staying in the same place for 3 years was stronger than his love for his pillow. He decided to try it for 30 days. The rule was simple. Wake up at 5 a.m., 2 hours of deep work on his app. No email, no news, no social media. The first morning was brutal. His body physically hurt. His brain was foggy. He sat at his desk and stared at a blank screen for 45 minutes, hating every second of it. He wanted to quit. He felt stupid. But he remembered David's advice. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to be there. By day 7, the fog began to lift. By day 14, something shifted. Michael realized that at 5 a.m. the world was silent. There were no cars outside, no notifications, no demands. It felt like he had stolen time from the universe. He started front-loading his most difficult work. He spent 90 minutes learning Python and 30 minutes reading. By 7 a.m., before he even showered for his real job, he had already done more for his future than he used to do in a whole month of evenings. He walked into his office at 9 a.m. feeling different. He wasn't rushing anymore. He had already won the day. If the rest of the day went wrong, it didn't matter. He had already deposited success into his own account. 6 months later, Michael didn't just launch his app. He walked into his boss's office and quit his job. Not because he was rich, but because he had built a second income stream in those quiet morning hours. He had regained control. You might be thinking, that's a nice story, but I need my sleep. Let's look at the math. If you wake up 2 hours early every day, that is 14 hours a week. That is 730 hours a year. That is the equivalent of working an extra full-time job for 4 months straight. Imagine what you could learn in 730 hours. Imagine the body you could build, the business you could start, the book you could write. The difference between where you are and where you want to be isn't luck. It isn't genetics. It is simply how you use the time when the rest of the world is unconscious. So here's the challenge. Tonight you are going to set your alarm for 5 a.m. Not 5:30, not 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock a.m. You are going to put your phone across the room, so you have to physically stand up to turn it off. And when that alarm rings, you will face the first battle of the day. Your brain will scream at you. It will give you 1,000 logical reasons to go back to sleep. Don't listen. Stand up, drink a glass of water, and spend the first hour on the one thing you have been avoiding. The first week will be hard. The second week will be annoying. But by the fourth week, you will meet a version of yourself you didn't know existed. A version that is disciplined, focused, and dangerous. Your future is waiting for you in the dark of the early morning. Don't make it wait another day.